Hello, today we're going to do two main things. The first one is to provide a tutorial on MailChimp of how to use two of its primary functions, which are lists and campaigns. Our secondary objective is to demonstrate the software ScreenFlow, which is something that we may use in the future to record at conferences and then to upload to websites. So something that you can see with ScreenFlow is that you have the ability to have three different feeds going on at the same time. The first one is a screen feed, which is what's going on the computer at a specific time. The second thing is a video feed, which I'm using the built-in camera on this iMac, but you can attach a separate, more high-quality camcorder if you wish. And the third thing is you can attach audio to it as well. So hoping to test out the functionality of that by making this tutorial. The first thing you want to do is just log into MailChimp. Login is right here. Then type in whatever your username is. Mine is Cedar Center, but you will have your own, along with the password that you have set up. Alright, now that you've logged in, you're on the dashboard. I'm going to show you how to use a couple functions of lists. I'll keep it short as to not overwhelm you. But basically you click on lists up at the top and it's got whichever lists are currently populated on MailChimp for Cedar. We'll use Cedar Center Newsletter as an example. This is a list that we have with 260 subscribers. They've added themselves by typing in their names and email addresses on the Cedar website. Some of them also indicated they would like to receive the newsletter on webinars that we did. So basically, if you want to view the list, just click View Subscribers. It's going to list all the subscribers that are currently on that list. If you want to search the subscribers, you can type in someone's name. Let's look for Bonnie Jones. Alright, there she is right there. It's got her email address on there. So if you want to see if someone's on a list, you can just type in their name or email address right there. The main thing that you're probably going to want to do though is add people to a list, and the way to do that is fairly simple. As you can see, we have our lists options right here. Why don't you click on Import, Start New Import. So if you want to import people to a particular list, there's two ways that you can do it. Just ignore all these ways over here because we don't use those. Basically, you're going to be importing a list of records from your computer, and there's two ways that you can do that. The way that you're probably going to do it if you're creating an entirely new list is you'll upload it from a file. You can click that, can browse for a file, and import it that way. Something that you'll definitely want to do if you are importing to a list, more entries to a list that already exists, is click Auto Update My Existing List right here, because what that'll do is if you've accidentally uploaded more people who already exist on the list, it will cross-check those, and it's not going to do duplicates if you do that. So make sure you click Auto Update My Existing List. If you upload a file, you need to make sure that it is a CSV or tab delimited text file. And those are both options that you can choose to save as in Excel. The main reason for that is that an Excel file uses multiple sheets and a CSV file doesn't, so the computer won't get confused when it's importing those sheets. So make sure that if you upload a file that's a CSV file and not an Excel spreadsheet. But something that you'll probably do even more is just copy and paste entries from Excel. So if you're working on Excel, you've got a database with some users in it, just copy and paste them from Excel, copy on Excel, click here, and you can paste whatever list that you have right here. The only thing to keep in mind is you need to have the same headers. Anytime that you do an import, you need to have the same number of columns and the same headers that already exist in the list. For example, in this list, it's got first name, last name, email address, and organization. So you need to make sure that you have those things in the list that you paste on there. If you have fewer things, that's okay, but just definitely make sure that you don't have more things. And whenever you click import, remember to auto update, and it's going to ask you to clarify that the columns are matching up with one another. So when it imports it, it'll say, make sure, is this the list of first names? Is this the list of last names? Are these the email addresses? And you just confirm that, and then you import the list. Sometimes it takes a few minutes for MailChimp to do it, but then that's about it. After you click import, you will have those names added to your list. The only other thing to make sure is only import people who have agreed to be on a specific list, either because they clicked yes on a registration form or they signed up on the website. It's illegal and unethical to add people to a list who you didn't ask, or who didn't ask to do that. So just make sure that you don't do that. That's about all that you need to know about lists. Alright, the next thing that I'm going to show you how to do is how to use campaigns. That's essentially the same thing as an email, but MailChimp calls it campaigns because it's essentially a marketing campaign that the Cedar Center is doing. It's a lot more complex than email, but I'll go through it one step at a time just to show you how to do it. So let's click on campaigns. Alright, and right now on this list it's going to show all the campaigns that we've ever made. Not necessarily all the ones that we've ever sent, but all the ones that I've ever made on MailChimp are listed on here right now. You can see the first one that we did was the webinar reminder. That was sent to a fairly large group of people. And then the most recent one that we sent was the June newsletter. So let me just go through a few features that that exist on this thing. There's basically two ways that you can go if you are wanting to send a campaign. You can create an entirely new campaign by clicking Create Campaign over here. You can go to My Templates, and there will be certain templates that we have created that exist that you can type information into. The templates that we have currently, I'll show you them. My Templates, we have a newsletter template, which is the one that we made for the newsletter, and then we have the webinar template, which is the ones that we've used to send out webinar instructions. But basically what you want to do if you're sending out an email is go to one that you've already sent, click on it, look at it, make sure that it's the one that you want to send, and basically just change the information on it. Then you want to replicate that campaign. And there's a few things that you have to go through to be able to send that campaign. The first thing is the list, which is who do you want to send this campaign to. This one's set to go to our newsletter list because it's the newsletter. But what you can do is you can edit that, and you can do one of two things. You can either send it to a completely new list, or you can just send it to a part of the list, which is called a segment. We showed you how to use segments in the list section of this. So you click segment, send it to a specific type or group of people. So that's the other option. So the next thing that you do after you set up all the basic things is go to Setup, where it's going to set up some basic information about the campaign. Name your campaign, and that's only going to be what shows up on MailChimp. It's not going to be shown to anyone who the email is sent to. Email subject, basically what do you want the subject of the email that you're sending to say? What do you want the from name to be that you're sending it from? I would just leave it as the Cedar Center, and then just leave the reply to email address as cedar@coe.ufl.edu. And something that you can do is you can personalize the to field. So where it says, when it sends an email to someone, it will pull their first name from the list that you have and put it on there. But basically here's a few other things that you probably just want to leave, except something that I do is I take off Facebook comments, but that's just because we don't have all of our Facebook functionality set up yet, but you can decide whether to do that or not. The next step is going to be the design. So just click on design and it'll go to the next thing. And this newsletter was created on the drag and drop template. So if you're just changing the information on it, then it's fairly simple. Just drag and drop, click the pencil to edit something, type in whatever information that you want. The only things that you have to know about is, within this editing you can click a hyperlink if you want to do a link. You can click this down arrow if you want more editing options. Basically the only thing that's not self-explanatory is if you want to make something our cedar color, which is this bluish color right here that the logo is and the background is, what you'll have to do is you will have to highlight what you want to be that color. Let's highlight this right here. Then you're gonna have to go to text color, more colors, and then you're gonna have to type in the hex code for the cedar color, which if you're gonna be doing this a lot, you'll memorize it or just write it down somewhere. And the hex code is #0F75BC. So you just type that in, click, you'll see the selected color turns to the cedar blue, click OK, makes that thing cedar blue. Other than that, you can drag and drop specific sections. You can delete sections. Over here on the sidebar, there's content, style, and settings. You really don't have to worry about any of the style things. You can mess around with how many columns that you want on a specific thing. But other than that, if you're just basically working with the content, it's fairly self-explanatory. And then once you get to a stage where you think that you like what you're sending, you can preview and test it. So just click on preview and test. You can enter a preview mode, and it'll show you how it'll look both on a web browser and on a mobile site or a mobile browser like your iPhone. So click on here. Looks pretty good. Click on here. Make sure that it is what you want it to look like, and then you can also send a text email to someone. Type in whichever email address you want to send it to. You can add a personal message if you'd like to as well. But after you're done with designing whatever email that you want to send, the next step is called plain text. And what that means is some people's browsers don't use HTML, or some people don't prefer to use it. Some people have disabilities which prevent them from being able to see things in a certain way, and they'd prefer to read it in a plain text format. So what you always want to do is just click copy text from HTML, and that'll just copy it straight from there. You don't really have to worry about it. I have looked through all our previous campaigns and no one has looked at the plain text version of it, but we still just need to do it anyway. So after you click copy text from HTML, just click next, which is the final confirmation. Look over to make sure that you're sending it to the people that you want to send it to, that it has the right subject, and all those sort of things. Then the last thing that you're going to want to do is send it. And there's two ways that you can send it. You can just send it immediately by clicking send now, and it'll send it, or you can click schedule, and you can schedule when you would like the email to be sent. And that's basically about it. After you've gone through those steps, you will be sending that campaign to whatever people you want to send it to. The most important thing is just testing. Make sure that you send it to multiple people to test, to make sure that everything looks good, because you're going to be sending it to hundreds of people, so you want to make sure that there's not any errors. But besides that, that's about all there is on campaigns. There are more advanced things that you can do, but you will that's beyond the, I guess, the purview of this basic instruction.